it's Marissa with Marissa Moments. So, you know what day it is. It's Oracle Tuesday, one of my favorite days of the week. And we're going to be reading from my personally made Marissa Moments Oracle deck. Now, remember, take what resonates, leave everything else to the wayside, right? You might hear my kids upstairs running around, but that's life too, right? Let's get into it. Yes, I do pray to God for guidance, for clarity, for wisdom, for courage, all of those things that you need to go throughout this next week, throughout this next month, day, year, whatever it is for you. Take it how it resonates in order to have that clarity of vision to take those next steps towards whatever it is that you need. So without further ado, let's go ahead and speed up this shuffle and get your reading. Okay, y'all. So let's check and see what the cards have to say. Whoa, just kidding. Okay, so differentiate true from created responsibility, and that's in the reverse. So, and this is going to be a surprise. So I'm not going to spread out the cards like I typically do. So it's a surprise to me too. What I received behind this and why it's in reverse is that it's almost like you've been shirking your responsibilities, right? And putting things off, saying, that's not really my responsibility. Like, do I really need to do that? And God is like, yes, you do. You can't live in a chaotic atmosphere and environment and tell yourself, use the excuse of saying, it's not really that important, but then wonder why you're existing within a chaotic state, right? While you're constantly feeling overwhelmed. It's because you've definitely, what I see is somebody putting like these different categories, right? In these columns and saying true responsibilities is like sleeping, right? Taking a shower. False responsibilities, cleaning the house. And God is like, no, that is a true responsibility. So you need to make sure that you're not trying to miscategorize things just because you don't want to do them, because they need to get done, right? Next up, become your own best friend. And that's in reverse too. And what I received behind this is a lot of reverse messages and out the gates. Can I speak? Oh, what are words? But anyway, become your own best friend. What I received behind that is like, yo, you've got that down pat. You've got it down pat, right? But the reason why Spirit is saying like, kind of get out of that zone, because it's almost like you're putting yourself through isolation. And also it's almost as if you're just not trusting other people, because you're like, I got this. If I got me, right? I'm my own bestie high five to self, right? But God is saying, listen, I put other people in your realm of existence for one, to teach you lessons, right? So that way you're not repeating the same patterns and habits. But at the same time, there are trustworthy people that God is placing around you. But you're so busy in this land of seclusion. You're so busy being in this personal bubble and space that it's almost like you have this paranoia that you've built up towards anyone who tries to cross that threshold to get closer to you. And I hear just to be close to you. Is that Lionel Richie? Anyway, does that song resonate? If it does, yeah, for you. But what I'm receiving is that it's great that you have built up your own self-confidence, but that confidence will twist into something dark if you don't allow yourself like the permission to let other people in. I hope that makes sense. Next up, you are not your parents. And that was in reverse too, y'all. So apparently you are your parents. So here's what I received behind this. Like a lot of times, habits, cultural things, right? Or just ways of being, quirks, all these things are in fact passed down from generation to generation, because we repeat what we see, what we learn, all of those types of things. It becomes innate and ingrained in us due to programming. But what Spirit is saying is that it's okay to be like your parents, right? Because I feel like A lot of you may be so like trying to fight against it that you forget that there are good things in your parents too. Like even if they're what I hear is like monsters, like if they're terrible people, and I don't mean to make light of it, but you know, there are terrible parents that exist within this world. That is just a reality in which we reside. However, what I receive is that even with the most terrible parents, there's even just a small inkling of positivity, then that is the piece that you take with you. That is the part where you say, I am like my parents, and that is okay. You don't have to negate all the good things just because you were overwhelmed with the bad, right? It's okay in certain respects to be like your parents and use your discernment. You know what is healthy and what is unhealthy and what is toxic and what is basically passing down generational wounds and curses and all those things. So outside of that, once you break those chains and are able to see clearly what is healthy versus what is unhealthy, then it's okay to pick up some of the things and habits of your parents. Get outside and do nothing. This has been coming up a lot lately. Get outside and do nothing. What I received, because this one is actually sideways, right? It's like that. What I received from that is just switch things up. Like I see like somebody like shaking things up, like, yeah, it's time to shake things up and do something different, right? If you are the type of person that does go outside a lot, if you go out and hug a tree, whatever it is you do, then maybe go inside and, I don't know, read a book. I don't know, whatever the opposite of it is what I received that you need to do. Something that you continue to tell yourself, no, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to try that, or whatever it is. Now, of course, within reason, right? We always have to take these messages with a grain of salt. You strain it through the strainer of common sense, right? Use your discernment. If it brings harm to yourself or to someone else, obviously don't do it, right? Obviously. But what Spirit is saying is shake things up, because you're starting to, what I hear is get into a pattern again. And that's what you're trying to stay away from. So Spirit is saying, like, just shake things up. Challenge the damage. Challenge the damage. And this one was sideways too. Let me see. Spirit, what you talking about, Spirit? Challenge the damage. Hang on one second. Let me get a little clarity. Okay, that was super quick. Okay, so like, you know, what I received, the reason why this is sideways, because that's really what threw me off, is because it's almost like you have been challenging the damage, right? And what I hear is like since childhood, you've been like, something's a little bit off when we're talking about those generational curses, trauma, toxic patterns, all those types of things. You've always been the one potentially that has been able to identify like something's not right here, y'all. When your entire family is like gathered together and they're all having like these types of conversations that are just unhealthy, you've been the one, even within your childhood, to say, this doesn't feel right. There's something about this that isn't right. And the thing that makes that so amazing, and let's highlight this for a moment, is because you had no reason to know better. There was no reason why you would have known better, except for it's innate in you. It's already in you, right? That's how God built you, to challenge that damage, right? And so what I receive, and getting back to that, because I got like so many messages coming in right now, is that yes, you were capable of identifying what the toxic patterns were within your household, within your family, within your friendships, relationships, all of those things. Now, however, it was like almost you would go one of two ways, where you would either challenge it like, this is wrong, y'all, this is wrong, right? And you would just like go off, or you would just get completely mute and just be like, right? That's awkward. Let me not do that too long. But so what I'm receiving behind this is find that gray area, right? Understand and know that you don't always have to go rah, rah in every single situation and circumstance, because what's deemed unhealthy for you isn't necessarily deemed unhealthy for all of society, right? There's cultural differences, there's environmental differences, there's a lot of differences. So what I received is make sure that you know the facts behind that conversation and the context behind that conversation before you are so apt to attack. And in the same token, don't feel like you have to completely always just mute yourself in the face of adversity, right? It's okay to, what I hear is almost like defend yourself. But what you don't want to do is just snap, right? Because then you're going to be the one with kind of egg on your face, and you're not going to feel good about it afterwards. And then you're going to overthink it. And why did I do that? Now I've used up all my energy on something that wasn't worth even your time, right? So I'm hoping that's making sense. You already know the answer in reverse. This is a lot of reverse and sideways type stuff. You already know the answer in reverse. And what Spirit is saying is that you don't know everything. And I feel like this goes hand in hand kind of with what I was just talking about in terms of those toxic patterns that you often identify. Because what Spirit is saying is like not everything that you see you have the end all be all answer to, right? So what Spirit is saying is sometimes you do have to step in that gray area, know when it's necessary to observe and take on new knowledge based off of what's happening around you. Because if you just walk into a conversation on the tail end, then you're never going to know the true context of how it began or what they're actually talking about, especially if you decide to just interject yourself and say, that's completely wrong, when in fact, the conversation was talking about how that's completely wrong. But because you walked in on the tail end, you were misinformed. So understand and know that no one knows all the answers. No one knows everything except for God, right? I thought I saw something. Anyway, so you don't know everything, and that's okay. So sometimes just sit in silence so that way you can observe and learn. And then wait another day before making a decision. And I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand in terms of don't have that knee-jerk response, because maybe that's what you're apt to do, where you're like, no, you just snap. But what Spirit is saying is like, yo, chill. This is what I hear, like, chill, homie. Like, don't feel like you know everything, because you don't. Nobody does, and it's okay. You won't look dumb. You won't look silly or any of those things, even if you ask for clarity behind whatever it is that's being presented to you. If someone asks you a question, if someone asks you, what I hear is to join into something, feel comfortable and confident enough. You know how we're talking about you're your own best friend, right? So you have the confidence, but not in all situations in arenas, right? So your confidence is environmentally based is what I hear. But don't allow the fact that the people who brought you up chastised you when you asked a question to carry over into today, because that is in fact how you learn. You were just around the wrong people. And again, don't worry about carrying over those negative patterns or habits or anything like that, because there was a ray of sunshine that came through with those previous generations. But when it comes down to it, all in all, because, okay, let me get to the bottom of the deck before I can wrap it up. So loneliness is temporary. Oh, you feel alone? I'm so alone. That's the song that comes to my head. But it's temporary. What I receive behind this is you've often surrounded yourself, again, and this is the overall message, that you've often surrounded yourself with just people, right? Not necessarily good people, but just people. And then you start getting into this like angsty notion where you're like, people suck. But it's not that people suck, it's that you've been surrounding yourself with people that suck. Right? You can't claim that the world consists of one type of person when you are insistent upon surrounding yourself with one type of person, right? Ooh, did you catch that? All in all, make sure you're taking care of business is what I received. Take care of your true business. Don't try to put it on somebody else or shirk it away and say, it's not really important, when in fact it is. Get down to the nitty gritty. Understand and know that it is safe to expand beyond yourself. It is safe to expand that bubble of isolation to include maybe one other person, then maybe two. Whatever feels comfortable with you, whatever resonates with your spirit. And you'll know when you come across these people, because sometimes you might see somebody and you're like, they remind me of Barbara, and you don't like Barbara, right? That spirit showing you their soul oftentimes. However, what I like to do is try to give that new Barbara 2.0, if you will. And if your name is Barbara, I love you. You're awesome. I'm just using this name as an example. But if you still want to give them an opportunity, but when you see those red flags from Barbara 2.0, trust it. Trust your intuition. Sometimes, if because you want to make sure that you're identifying the proper parts as opposed to just recognizing it based off of your wounds. And that furthermore, within this conversation, understand and know that whatever characteristics you pick up, whether it be from your parents, and what I also hear from former associates, friends, relatives, neighbors, is what I hear, it's okay. Not everything that you carry forward from previous people in your life in previous seasons is going to be negative. So you don't always have to associate those habits with darkness just because the people were consumed by darkness, right? Switch up the game, challenge that damage, understand that you do not know everything, and that is completely okay. So make sure you hear things out before you make any assumptions, and understand that at the end of the day, your loneliness right now, what I hear is often self-inflicted, but also is just temporary. Your seasons are constantly changing, constantly. So today you might be in isolation. Tomorrow you might be surrounded in a party, right? You never know, but you have to be open to it. And in the meantime, in the interim, if you will, make sure that you are constantly working on that healing. Not so much where you can't live your life, but where you are mindful of things and the happenings in your realm of existence. So that way you don't miss your signs and your symbols and your messages and your opportunities for ascension when they arise, because you're so stuck in your darkness. So that's it for now. This was a really long message, but hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down, or picking up what Spirit and God, Gaia, ancestors, angels, and saints are putting down for you, because yes, this message is for you. I always love doing these messages because I also get something out of it, but I hope that you're getting something out of it too. And this is help giving you clarity and guidance for the week, month, year, however it resonates for you. That's how you should take it. But until next time, make sure you follow me on all of social media. Let's be friends, guys. Let's be friends. Feel free to send me a comment, question, whatever it is, journey-based, the give and receive based, however it is. And I will do my best to respond to you. And have a great week. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, apples and tomatoes, and happy healing. Bye.